Hey guys, it's Venom here with a new type of video here. I'm temporarily taking a break. I forgot what the name of the word I was looking for is, but a temporary vacation from Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm not really liking the new format. I'm not really liking the new stuff. I'm still going to participate in like local tournaments and stuff, but I'm not going to do anything big like regionals or anything. So I'm moving on to a few other card games. The two card games I'm moving on to are obviously Cardfight Vanguard and KEEP YUGIOH, the new Duel Masters game. I'm liking both the games right now, but you know what, instead of explaining how I'm liking my new card games that I'm playing, let's go ahead and explain to you guys what I'm doing here today. I'm starting a series called Cardfight Vanguard, the tutorial. I will do a bunch of videos on the basics of the game, deck building, different clans, different abilities, different stuff that happens, and stuff that's similar, deck reviews. And for the very beginning few videos, it's just going to be very basic stuff, and I'm going to be teaching you how to play the game and exactly what the cards mean. So first up in Cardfight Vanguard, today's video is on cards and what they mean. So each, for currently in Vanguard, there's planning on being more released, but currently there are 3 grade levels. What I mean by the grade is that when you look at the top right-hand corner of the card, it says a number. These two both say 0, so they are grade 0 units. Grade 0 units are what you either start the game off with or trigger units. Trigger units are always grade 0s. They always have an emblem right there in the top left or top right-hand corner. And then the bottom edge of the card is yellow. Those are trigger units. Non-trigger units have black on the bottom and do not have an emblem in the right-hand corner. Now, grade 0s have the ability to boost, which is basically going to add their power to your main attacker's power, which I'll explain later. So the basic card layout, I'm just teaching you the grade numbers. So grade 0s are always boosters. Now the next grade level is grade 1. Grade 1 units are also boosters, and they can be played on top of grade 0s for your Vanguard circle, and for your 5 rearguard circles you can call them if you've got a grade 1 as your Vanguard. The next grade level is a grade 2. It'll have a 2 in the upper left hand corner. It also has this emblem that looks like a kind of funky looking downwards arrow, like it's shaped weird. That is the intercept ability. These guys, if they're in the front rearguard position, they have the ability to block by turning themselves sideways and putting themselves in front of your Vanguard, and then they will die once that block is over. Now, I can explain this more once I get into the basics of the card game. And the next and currently final grade level is grade 3. It has the 3 up there, and it has these weird twisting DNA looking arrows going up. This is called a twin drive. That means whenever you do a drive check with this card, while it is your Vanguard, you get 2 drive checks instead of just 1. Now, let me check the time limit real quick, and I may just go ahead and teach you the basics. Yeah, I've only got 3.5 minutes up so far. So I'm going to go ahead and teach you guys the basics of the game. So I'm going to take these cards away. Now I'm going to shuffle my deck pretty well. But anyways, so this is my starting Vanguard. Now in Vanguard you have 6 card zones, and I'm going to point them out here in a second. You have 6 card zones. You have your Vanguard circle, which is the front middle. Then you've got 2 rearguard circles on the front to either side of the Vanguard circle, and then then you've got 2 right behind those 2 rearguard circles. You've got 2 more rearguard circles, and behind the Vanguard circle you have the 5th rearguard circles. So altogether you have 5 rearguard circles and 1 Vanguard circle. Your opponent's field looks the exact same, obviously. So whenever you start the game, you always start with a grade 0. You generally don't want to start with a trigger unit. There are certain decks that are coming out in the future, and some that are even already out, that can use triggers as their starting units. The reason why you don't want to use your triggers as your starters is because you want them in your deck. The triggers usually only work whenever they are flipped on top of the deck, which I'll explain how that happens later. But so you want your triggers in the deck. So now that I've shuffled the deck a little bit, let's go ahead and show you how the opening hand and stuff like that works. So you shuffle your deck, You give your deck to your opponent, they cut the deck, just like any card game. Now, you draw 5 cards off the top of your deck. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, there is a mulligan in Cardfight Vanguard. To mulligan in Cardfight Vanguard, you send as many cards as you want back to the deck from your hand and draw that many cards again. You can only mulligan once. And I'm going to mulligan 1. You generally only want to mulligan triggers, but actually I'm going to mulligan 2 because I don't want this card in my hand at the moment because the hand looks bad. Now, you'll understand that eventually. So I want to mulligan 2 cards. And when I shuffle my deck up a little bit, I'm going to hand it back to my opponent again. They're going to cut it again. And now I draw 1, 2 cards from my deck. Now, of course, some of these cards you haven't seen yet. Now, that's my hand. I have not played them on the field yet. To decide who goes first, it's just like any card game. You can roll a dice, you can flip a coin, you can rock, paper, scissors. You can look at the bottom card, see who has the biggest grade, and whoever has the biggest grade can go first. But for the tutorial's sake, I'm obviously going to go first because I'm the only person playing. So on your first turn, both players are allowed to draw. So since I'm going first, I can still draw. Now, whenever you're playing, or whenever your turn goes like this, you draw phase. After you draw, you enter a phase called the ride phase. The ride phase is where you can ride a grade unit from your hand that is grade is equal to or 1 greater than your Vanguard. You cannot go down below the Vanguard, and you cannot jump up too many. So in other words, if I have a grade 0, I can only play grade 0s or grade 1s on top of him. I generally want to play grade 1s on top of him because I want to get out those higher grades sooner. So now I'm going to play this card on top of, wrong card. I'm going to play this card on top of my Vanguard. Now my Vanguard's ability says whenever this unit is ridden by a Kagero unit, that he can slide back to, he can call himself to any rearguard position. So now I call him. Now the next phase of your turn after you ride is your call phase. You can call any units in any of your rearguard spaces that are the same, equal to, or less than grade value of your Vanguard. So I can play any grade 1s or grade 0s in any of my rearguard positions. So I'm going to play this right here. Generally, grade 1s and grade 0s are boosters, and boosters you want on your back row. Grade 2s and grade 3s you never want to put on your back row, and you always want on your front row. Of course, there are exceptions to this with some cards in the future and some cards at the moment, but I won't get into that yet again. So I'm going to put my hand off to the side so that way you can see what's going to happen. Now, after you do your call phase, you enter what's called your main phase, which I think actually your call phase and your main phase are the same. But you call during your main phase. So there is no call phase. Scratch that. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. But it is your main phase that you call cards. When you call cards like that, you also can activate card abilities. Now, when you activate card abilities, you cannot attack on your first turn. I'll explain attacking here in a minute. But since it's my first turn, I cannot attack. This card's ability says it's an activate ability, so I have to declare that I'm activating it. It can be activated as either the Vanguard or the Rearguard because it has the V and the R. I'm going to pull this up closer so you guys can see it. So, I'm not sure if you guys can really tell, but it says V, R. So it has to be either the Vanguard or the Rearguard, so it is always going to be a Vanguard or Rearguard. So now its ability is rest this unit, and rest, I turn it sideways. Now that's the cost of the unit. Now it says choose a card from your hand and discard it to draw a card. So I'm going to look at my hand, and I know I want both of these in hand, but I don't need 2 of this card, so I'm going to discard that so I can simply draw a card. So now that is my hand. Now I'm just going to simply end my turn because I can't do anything. Now let's say my opponent's turn goes off. I'm going to just do do nothing here because I don't have an opponent's deck. I'll do a quick video after I've taught you how to duel of me and my friend dueling, and we're going to explain what's going on so that way you guys can understand what I'm explaining now. Okay, so it's my turn again. I'm going to draw a card. That's a good thing I drew that. I drew a grade 2 unit, so I can simply go into my ride phase and ride a grade 2 on top of my grade 1. And now I can call any grade 1s or grade 2s to my rear guard positions, but I wish to not, and I did not mean to do that. So now, here's what is called your attack phase. Your attack phase is after your main phase, and I'm going to move him up. You can move units vertically, but not horizontally, and you cannot move the Vanguard unit. So, and you can do that once per turn. So this guy cannot move back this turn, but he can next turn if I want to. So now, what is your attack phase? Your attack phase, you get to attack with your front row units. Now when your front row unit attacks, if there's a booster behind it, they will boost. And since that is 8,000 attack, which you see right here, he is 8,000 attack and so is he. Whenever the booster boosts the unit, which you turn it sideways and rest it just for it, they have that boost ability, which is all grade 1s and grade 0s, and they add their attack power to that attack power, making this attack power of 16. So now I'm hitting 16. If I chose to attack a rear guard, or any of these two rear guard positions, then they will not take damage from the attack, but the rear guard will instead die. But if I attack their Vanguard, then their Vanguard will take a damage for their damage, and they need 6 damage to lose over here. You need 6 damage over here to lose. Or they don't take damage or whatever. And whenever you do attack with a Vanguard, you do what is called a drive check. For a drive check, you simply flip the top card of your deck over, and if it's trigger unit, you activate the trigger unit's ability. It is not a trigger unit, so I'm simply just going to add it to my hand. Now let's just say that our attack hit. Our opponent would then go to his deck, pretend this is his deck, and he would flip the top card over. And he does not get a trigger unit, so that goes into what is called the damage zone. So he puts his damage in the damage zone. Once you get 6 damage counters, you lose the game. So that's pretty much the basics. Also, this card's ability right here. Oh, and you stand before you draw, just like in Magic. You you untap your cards. But anyways, this card has a little purple emblem that goes sideways, and it says 1 next to it. You can't really tell, but it says that's called a counterblast. To counterblast, you simply flip 1 damage over, and that's a counterblast. That's a counterblast 1. If it was a counterblast 2, I would have to flip 2 damage over. Now his ability says counterblast 1 and retire this unit. So retire this unit is sending him to the grave. Simply just putting him in the drop zone is what the grave is. And his ability says that I get to search my deck for grade 1 or less Vanguard. So I want to get my 8,000 booster because he's pretty awesome and add him to my hand. And then I'm generally going to play him shortly after, and I can play that there. And of course I would have ridden into that before I did that, all that. So, and of course you don't want the triggers in your hand. But now let's go on to the defensive side. Whenever you're being attacked by your opponent, if this unit's being attacked, he cannot intercept, even though he's got the interceptor ability. But if this unit or this unit's being attacked, he can intercept. The intercept is simply turn this card over here and put it into the Guardian Circle, which the Guardian Circle is right above your Vanguard. It's in between the two players' playmats pretty much. But and you add his little shield there, which they have a shield emblem on the side of their thing and a number there. You add that shield to their power, or actually you technically take it away from their Vanguard's power, but in the end they both do the same thing. And then at the end of that battle, that unit would simply go to the drop zone. Now you can also guard from your hand, which is any card that has a shield thing on it. You can put up in your Guardian zone, and their shield is added to your power yet again. So that's how you block. And of course, for an attack to hit a Vanguard or a rear guard, for that matter, is you have to have equal to or higher attack. So if my 10,000 hits your 9,000, it would hit. If it hits your 10,000, it would still hit. But if it hit your 11,000, it would not hit. Obvious. So there's the basics for you guys. I'll bring some more tutorial videos for Vanguard sooner. But hopefully that would at least get you guys understanding the basics of Vanguard. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Rate, comment, subscribe, and comment on whether you are upset about me temporarily not doing Yu-Gi-Oh, because I will still try to keep Yu-Gi-Oh videos up even though I'm not really consistently playing it anymore for you guys. But if you guys are okay with me doing this move to other card games, also let me know of that. If you enjoyed the video, obviously rate, comment, subscribe. And check out some of my other videos. I also have a video of this exact deck, I'm pretty sure. I think it might have a few changes since that deck profile. But for the most part, it's pretty much the exact same deck up on my channel. I might upload another deck profile of this here in the few days, along with all these tutorial videos. So go check out the other videos, rate, comment, subscribe. See you in the next video.